All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Mike and the Hoss on Wolfeboro Community Television. This is our social distancing episode 1, Coach.
Yes,
How
it
you
is.
doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
All right. I want to thank our good friends and sponsors. So we have Morrissey's Porch and Pub,
Yeah, we have Skelly's Market.
and we have Downtown Grill and Cafe.
Yeah, definitely. I know that our viewers can't see this, but there's a really cute picture of Timothy Goodwin, our producer, on our screen. So thank you, Timothy, for producing the show.
And obviously, this is our first go with this, and it looks like it's not going to be our last go with this.
Yeah.
The way things are going.
Yeah, we just got orders today from the governor saying that we are shelter in place until May 4th. We'll have remote learning until May 4th. So we're gonna have to.
I know that we are remote learning until May 4th. Is it shelter in place until May 4th too?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe I don't know. For me, I feel like I've already sheltered in place, but that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, pretty much the way it's been going is, the grocery store, maybe the post office, and one trip to the hardware store has pretty much been about it.
Yeah, Mike, my biggest fear in all of this, and obviously this is a silly fear, but what are considered essential and non-essential businesses, and one of my vices is coffee. So I hope my favorite coffee roaster can stay open to kind of get through this.
Well, I hope so too, for your sake.
I
don't want to see you be grouchy here. So again, welcome to the show. This is our social distancing season 1, episode 1. Hopefully our only season. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be our only episode. And our job's to talk about sports, Coach.
It is.
And our topics are a little limited. So
a little, yeah.
I set up our agenda that we're going to talk about COVID-19 and its impact on the sports world, similar to what we did last week. But there's obviously been a lot of developments since last week on some moves and decisions that the major sports programs are doing. NHIA, that too.
Yes.
For the school. And we have some more Brady talk. So things are official that Tom Brady's moving on to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And so we have some talk about that and just the fallout after a week, especially since it's really been the only thing to talk about. So, the airways are kind of flooded with Brady talk, and which has been interesting. And then the future of the Patriots.
Yeah.
And also some Chris Sale talk. I mean, I thought we'd have some time to work on that too. So we don't know how long our episode's going to go. We have been given the green light by Wolfeboro Community Television to talk as long as we can. Yeah. They actually asked us to talk as long as we can because programming for all networks is.
I kind of feel like Timothy is asking. It's almost like a filibuster. We're just going to continue to talk and talk and talk and talk.
I have a feeling by the end of this, we're going to be doing a 4-hour spot daily.
That'll be.
Yeah. All right, so let's open up with COVID-19. And, as everybody knows, we're both teachers, and we just got word today that we're done until May 4th, which means that athletics are also going to be, done until May 4th.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the final word, obviously, from the NHIAA, because, I don't work for them, but it seems like it'd be really hard to get a spring season in, starting in the middle of May.
Well, and tentatively, we were supposed to come back April 6th. And then this sports were supposed to start April 14th, 15th, around then.
Right.
And then games were like April 27th.
Yeah.
And so with our April 6th date, they basically had put in 3 solid weeks of
tryouts,
season, blah, 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 practices, and so on.
Yeah.
And so if we're doing the same thing for May 4th, that puts us at May 25th.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. That's when playoffs start.
Right. That's when playoffs start. And some schools are graduating 2 weeks from then, we're done in our school district June 19th. So,
So a question for you. And I was talking to Coach Skelly the other night, and he enlightened me on a couple things that I wasn't even really thinking about. But is it reasonable to let's say we do go back May 4th, which obviously there's some question marks around that too.
Right.
And we started up in the latter part of May to just go right to a playoff season.
I didn't mean to laugh, but just jump to playoffs, not have a regular season.
just I don't know. I mean, maybe their playoffs look a little bit different. Maybe there's a round robin, for a week of something like 3 or 4 games.
Qualifies, then you do seeding.
Yeah. Now he did point out something especially applicable to baseball is that one of the big things that with baseball pitchers and catchers and pitchers specifically is arm strength, being arm endurance.
Yeah.
And there's no practicing going on unless somebody's doing something in their yard, which you can't count on.
Right.
Arms aren't going to be in any kind of shape to start throwing full games right away.
Yeah, you're right on about that. And then if you try to squeeze too many games into a week, I mean, most high school teams, if they're lucky, have 4 pitchers, and that's a stretch. So you're right. I mean, it would be really hard to condense a baseball season and then try to have playoffs.
And what if it rains? So
it'll rain.
There's no. I mean, I think the other sports could get away with it. Track, obviously, could do a track meet and then decide who's going to the state championships from that.
Maybe lacrosse might be able to.
Lacrosse probably could get away with it. And I was thinking of some of the. I mean, whether it can happen or not, but some of the impacts, whether a shortened season happens or any season happens, the college recruiting for a lot of these kids, these juniors and seniors, this is their big year to get recruited, and they're missing those opportunities.
Right. But I think since everybody's in the same boat, it's not like New Hampshire specific. So obviously the NCAA and the recruitment process understands all the kids are in the same boat. They can't go scout, Joey from Oklahoma. I mean, we're all in this together. So they're going to have to, the NCAA and the recruitment process, they're going to have to make some changes and as to how they recruit kids out of high school.
High School Musical reference there, Coach. I don't know if you knew that. Ask your daughter.
Get your head in the game. Yeah, there we go.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, all right. It's a good point that everybody else is, in the same boat. So how do you think this is going to change that recruiting process? While we're on that topic, is it going to be more like showcase stuff? Is it going to be you're going to have to be seen in your club sport because you're not going to be able to see it in your school sport?
Right.
Is it your sport tryouts?
Yeah. And that's another topic that we've talked about. It's really hard because not every kid participates in showcases or AAU programs. And I think that's still going to be part of it, that you have these showcase terms. And I know whether it's basketball or baseball or any sport. But I think the other thing is, I think they're going to have to really rely on high school coaches to really give a fair and honest evaluation of, is this kid someone that could play at the next level? And if so, at what division, what position, things like that. They're going to have to, rely on that information. And where I think they've relied on that in the past, but at the same time, if you're if you're going to recruit someone, you want to see them play. Kids, obviously, nowadays kids have video, and I know starting even freshman year, kids start, using video and different programs so that they can use that for their recruitment process. But you're right, it's a big difference between a freshman and a junior and a senior as far as ability and the way they're playing.
Well, and I think those highlight videos are used to entice a coach to come see you. I don't think anybody's getting recruited off those highlight videos.
Yeah, good point.
But they're just to give them information. It's tough. It's tough, and it's affecting everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you made that point. It's not New Hampshire centric. It is everybody, and it is every age group. And sure, the juniors and seniors are losing, but now your freshmen are losing their freshman year, and they're not going to make that up.
Right.
So that's we talk about years of eligibility. Well, it's also years of experience.
Right.
So, you and I both have freshmen that are on the ball team or in the baseball program anyway. And either way, they're losing a year of high school experience if we don't play.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's where it's going to be important. And if they can even have it, where those kids are going to have to get into the AAU programs and try to play baseball, whether it's fall ball or summer ball, to continue to keep those skills improving and getting better.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, there's going to have to be something that fills it in. So MLB, I mean, we'll start with MLB because I think that I've seen more talk about MLB seasons than NHL I mean, the NHL and the NBA are just suspended, and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
MLB has delayed their start, and they have 162 games to get in. So,
yeah,
which, obviously is not likely at this point.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last episode, and you had asked me, but you're right. I mean, if you prolong the when they're going to start the MLB, they're obviously going to have to condense the season.
So things that I've heard, which is interesting because MLB is so stuck in their ways as far as making any kind of changes to their programming.
Right.
Neutral site playoff games that they would play the regular seasons through like into November anyway, where you could still play in the Bostons, the New Yorks, and so on.
Right.
But the playoffs would run through December.
Yeah.
And they would do it in neutral sites. So, the dome stadiums and whatnot. I don't think the Red Sox are going to have to worry too much about the playoffs this year, but, the New York, they're Chicago. These are teams that are probably, itching to get to the playoffs. They certainly have the talent, and it's going to affect them.
Yeah.
But yeah, neutral site.
Yeah. You mentioned that because I just talked to Coach Skelly before the start of this show, and he had said the possibility, I hadn't heard this, but World Series on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like, how cool would that be? I mean,
we could be having baseball, basketball, and the NFL playing on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh my gosh, that'd be wild.
I don't know. I mean, that's weird. I don't know if I'm ready for baseball in December.
No.
I mean, that's and then taking long term, and I guess this is a really pessimistic view here, but let's say you play baseball through December.
Mm-hmm.
Spring training is the first week in February.
Right.
For pitchers and pitchers to report.
Yeah. So you got time off, some downtime. I don't know how they would work that out.
The other thing I heard, which I thought was interesting, is taking a look at how the games are played as far as the time on the games, because if they're going to condense a bunch of games, they're talking double headers and things like that. They can't have a 16 or 17 inning game. Games can't go to extra innings and then expect to play 2 the next day and 2 the next day and so on. Doing something like we did in AAU when we went to the playoffs in AAU, load the bases in the extra innings.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah.
I think that kind of stuff has to be on the table.
Yeah.
My son Will says, why don't they just play 7-inning games?
Well, I was going to say that's a good idea, Will, for 7-inning game. So, and that way you could get 2 games in.
I'll give you another one. I just came up with this. What if you played 3 3-inning games, right?
Yeah.
In a whatever time slot you have. And so the teams aren't traveling. So your series are 3 3-inning games. So I'm saying this is if you start in like July, for instance.
Yeah.
And so you're playing 9 innings. The fans getting 9 innings worth of games.
Yeah.
But they're starting from scratch, and so you end up you play 162 games, but it's only 3 innings each one.
That'd be better for pitching.
It would be better for pitching because they're, Major League Baseball, we talked about pitching in school. They're in the same boat. They just went through a big, half of spring training anyway.
Yeah.
And some of them are probably throwing on the sides with a trainer or something like that, but they're not in real game action by any means.
Right.
So MLB is going to be, I don't see MLB starting very soon. I don't even want to guess when they're going to start because I've been wrong every single time. So
who knows?
The NHL, NBA, just suspended. Now, I did hear that the NHL has requested what kind of rink access there is in August.
Yes. I saw that for July and August because you figure that, these rinks aren't open in the middle of, when it's 90 degrees outside. So they're going to need to figure out, are these rinks capable of, having ice?
The Garden took out their ice. Did you know that? The Garden took out their ice.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, it'd be pretty easy to put ice back in. So.
Well, I think it's a big statement saying that they took out their ice. The only time they take out their ice is at the end of the Bruins season.
Yeah.
So,
they're also not paying their employees as well. So.
Yeah, that's. I guess we could talk about. Let's talk about Mr. Jacobs while we're here. So he did set aside $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
If the last 6 games were canceled.
Yeah.
And I think the last 6 games are going to be canceled. Yeah. And I did some numbers. He's worth like 3.6 billion, and I'm not faulting him for that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it was like 0.001%. I don't have it in front of me now, of his value that he was the last one. He was the last owner in the NHL to contribute towards their workers and their funds.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
It's too bad. I mean, it gives the Bruins, unfortunately, a bad look. So.
Yeah, it does. And they've kind of had this look with him for a long time. Back in the Harry Sinden years, the Bruins, they were always thought to be really cheap. That's why they, for those long stretch of time from the late 70s, pretty much until the new ownership the new league rules as far as salary cap took over.
Right.
The Bruins didn't spend any money. And it was Jacobs who didn't want to spend the money. He didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
You like to have deep pockets. That's where the Red Sox ownership is nice. They do spend the money.
Yeah. They do.
But anyway, NFL. Let's talk about NFL. Well, actually, let's go back to, NBA.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart. I don't know if we talked about that last week. I don't think we did.
He was diagnosed with coronavirus.
No symptoms.
Right.
Yeah, no symptoms.
Which is scary. I'm gonna, just because this is real life, Mike, I'm gonna let my dog back in right now. I apologize, but so I'm still with you. I just gotta step over here for a minute. So it's kind of scary with how many people are asymptomatic. And that leads me to another topic, Mike. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. That leads me to
I don't feel as bad when my phone goes off during the show now.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than letting the dog out.
This is social distancing episode 1. You're gonna get to experience real life. So, our fans are in our homes now, which is okay.
I know.
But the asymptomatic stuff, that's the part that scares me, because he had no idea.
No. I was just down. I went to the grocery store just a little while ago, and walking around. I'm cautious. I'm wiping my hands. Sometimes I wear the gloves and stuff like that. And I'm following the guidelines as best I can.
Yeah.
Act like you have it rather than anybody else has it. But the asymptomatic point, like you said, somebody could be walking around the grocery store and has it. You don't even know, and you're standing next to them, and that's hard to think about. So I don't want to get into too much of the medical piece of this.
Yeah.
NFL. Obviously we have some Brady talk, to come up and stuff like that. But what's coming around the corner is all the preseason stuff, the OTAs,
right,
that teams really value. And so now they're missing that. You get the optionals, you get your mandatories, and then your preseason starts in late June, early July, give or take, as far as reporting to camps.
Right.
If that's delayed, now you're talking a physical sport that people are getting hit. Yeah. And you're a football player, or were a football player, maybe not anymore, but it takes a little bit to get in football shape.
Of course it does. Yeah. I mean, football shape is, so different than like you just going out and running around and, running sprints. I mean, you need to have that contact. You need to wear that equipment. There's a lot to it.
So, I think they're going to see some long-term effects on that. And then something that actually does strike close to home, because Josh Balding was heading to Tokyo this summer.
Yes.
And the Summer Olympics have been postponed until next summer.
Right.
Which I don't think we're surprised about. I was kind of surprised that they didn't do it sooner as far as postponing it.
Yeah, it took a while for them to do it. But and I think I haven't talked to Josh. I don't know, have you? But I'm hoping he'll have a chance to go again next year.
Well, I've seen some of his posts, and he's obviously disappointed. Hopefully he does. I don't know why he can't go next year. I mean, everything's still the same. It's just such an economic decision for Japan to postpone it, because they've been building buildings for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Building hotels, building buildings that are now empty and not used. And, there's some cost overrun on that too, that is probably going to impact the whole thing. But we've seen, we watched the Olympics. We've seen the footage of the Olympics. It's putting a lot of people into a small area.
Right. Yeah.
And in Japan, there's already a lot of people in a small area there. So, I understand that, and like I said,
and Japan. Speaking of the COVID-19, Japan is actually doing a great job. I mean, they haven't really been impacted like the rest of the world has.
That's interesting, and
maybe that's they're an island, or islands, so
yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, speaking of island, Ronaldo, the soccer player, Ronaldo, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
He bought an island. When this whole thing started, he bought an island.
Wow.
And grabbed all his family and any kind of support personnel, chefs, trainers, anybody to run the island. There was a resort on the island already.
Yeah.
Brought them all in there and then shut the whole thing down. Nobody was allowed in or out.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
You can't do that in your teacher salary, can you?
No, I was going to say, but I was maybe reach out to Timothy. We could have the Goodwin, Danais, and Hossack families. So
they can give pool our money. I mean, I think he's pretty much at the top of the pay scale as far as soccer players go.
Yeah.
And when you talk about big money in baseball, big money, nothing touches the big money that you see in soccer.
I know.
These guys are like 80 or 90 million a year, 120 million a year,
and they're so loved by their fans. It's awesome.
Yep, I agree. All right, are we good with COVID-19 for now?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think people have probably heard way too much. So definitely, I think we're all set.
Okay. So our quarterback, Tom Brady,
has
our former quarterback, has moved on. We covered it pretty extensively last week. We actually had an hour episode last week that was very Brady centric. We did the highlight, by the way. Got a lot of nice comments on the highlight videos. So I'm pass that on to Timothy. It was a nice feature on our show. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit in this. I can hold my phone up and just play a video if we want to do it that way.
You already got highlights. I've let my dog in. It's been
that's true. That is true. So how are you feeling a week later?
I'm okay with it. It's I think Tampa Bay, it's going to be interesting. People ask all the time. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm going to root for the Patriots, but now I'm going to actually cheer on Tom Brady, and I hope Tampa Bay does well. I think it's looking at it now, I think it's going to be a good fit for Tom, and I'm excited for the season to begin.
It does give us another team to at least watch, whether you root for them or not. It's probably depends on where you stand.
Yeah.
But it does. I'm interested in watching the Tampa games. I think I'm also. I was okay with it last week. I'm sad, but I'm also okay with it. The NFL Network and ESPN2, because they haven't had any programming. We've seen a lot of Brady's games in the past week. I don't know if you've tuned in, but there's been an awful lot of Brady coverage as far as his greatest games and those kinds of things, which I think is fun to watch, but it's also been sentimental too in how fortunate we have been for the last 20 years.
I know.
That's our team that we've been rooting for and winning and dominating the NFL for 18, 19 years.
Yeah.
And a big part of it was Brady. We're going to see how much a big part of it is soon. Yeah. But a big part of it was certainly him. But I'm okay. And I'm thinking that, I mean, there's pockets of fans that are not okay.
Right.
The Patriots seem to be okay with it. Bill Belichick seems to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft might be a little salty about the whole thing. But if they wanted Brady there in New England, they would have paid him.
Right.
And it came down to they just were not going to break the bank for Tom Brady.
Yep. And I think it was, looking at it now, I think it was the right decision. And I mean, just you said this last week. I'm ready for the next, whatever the next thing is going to be. Is it going to be Jarrett Stidham? They just signed Brian Hoyer again. Hoyer's back. Where are they going to go? And I'm excited to see what the Patriots are going to do really once training camp begins.
Well, and I think a Hoyer signing certainly shows who the most likely quarterback for the Patriots are going to be next year. They brought Hoyer in as a backup veteran to support him and be a locker room guy for Stidham. They didn't bring in Hoyer to play.
No,
they brought him in as a backup, and I think that what Belichick thinks of Stidham is probably the biggest factor on why Brady's not here anymore. I think if Belichick didn't feel like Stidham was the next guy and he wanted to make that move now and was ready right now,
right,
then Brady would probably still be here. So I've, for 20 years been in Bill we trust, and or at least in Bill I trust. And I'm not changing that at this point. I've heard some, potential records that they're going to have, 4-12, 7-9. I'm sorry. I think they're winning 10 or 11 games. I do. I think that Bill's going to put this thing together again.
And then just the comments that we've heard from, and you probably, Devin McCourty has said this, but when they talk about Jarrett Stidham and how he plays, against the Patriots defense, he said they keep saying he is an NFL quarterback. He is good. He's very talented. He can make the throws. He's very smart. He's got a high football IQ. I think this kid is ready.
I know, and I think not only that, I think he's a little bit more. Well, I know he's more mobile than Brady was,
Of course.
and
like you're more.
I think that I am actually, but I don't think you heard too much from Josh McDaniels. I think that even though Josh McDaniels and Brady are pretty close friends, I think McDaniels and Belichick, for that matter, are excited to take the offense in a different direction.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do that with Brady. He was. I mean, the offense they had obviously was great, but they needed certain parts to make it good.
Right.
I think they feel like with where they're at now, that Stidham gives them a few more options that they didn't have. I still think they're going to draft a quarterback too. I think they're going to, depending on where they, what they can get to. If I heard Jake Fromm, is on their list, but I think they're all in with Stidham. I think they've been all in with Stidham since, December when this thing was happening. And I don't think Bill had any intentions of signing Brady. I don't think he had any at all. We heard, he offered $13 million. And then he also wouldn't guarantee him the starting job. I don't know if you got that one. He would not guarantee Brady the starting job. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. So
earn the starting job. Wow.
Yeah.
And don't forget, the Patriots do have another quarterback, Kessler. So they actually have 3 quarterbacks that are on the roster.
Yeah, I don't think that Kessler will be there next year. I think they would draft another quarterback, and it would be Stidham, the draftee, and Hoyer.
Yeah.
And that's how I see that falling out. And there'll be a competition. There'll be a competition in preseason and stuff like that. And if the guy they draft is there, I have no doubt that they'll put him in instead.
Yeah.
But I think as of right now, they feel good about what they got with Stidham, and I think they're just going to go with that. And I'm with him. I'm with them. Put it this way: at most, you're going to get 2 more years out of Brady.
Right.
It's not like Brady's 32 and he's going to be playing 6, 7, 8 more years.
Right.
He's looking at 2 more years. So this was going to happen eventually, and by making it happen now, if they feel that Stidham's the guy, it's almost like ripping the Band-Aid off and moving on.
Yeah.
Instead of ripping off slowly.
I'm happy in the sense too that, like, I don't know if it'll happen, but if Brady ever does fall off that cliff, I'm grateful.
Yep.
I'm grateful that he's not at New England, so he can do that in Tampa. And we had said this last week. He's going to retire as a Patriot, and we'll build him a statue, and nothing's going to change his legacy.
So our producer just sent a text. I don't know if you saw it. Because of course Brady went to Tampa because that's what people from New England do.
Yeah, I didn't.
Snowbirds. We call them snowbirds.
Well, let me tell you.
He is.
I want to tell you a quick story. So I've got a buddy that huge Patriots fan, and he lives down in Massachusetts. But they ended up purchasing season tickets for Tampa Bay, and he got them actually 2 days. We knew that obviously Brady was going to go there. We had talked about it, but it was 2 days before Brady actually officially signed, and he ended up getting the club seats. And each seat was $1,400 per seat. So he got two club seats. And after they did all the math, he and his wife are going to be going. that he can fly from Boston to Tampa, attend these games, you know, the 8 games that they're going to have down there, and it's still going to save money than going to Gillette, you know, for
really,
just because of the price of club seats at Gillette and the cost of parking and all of this. So it was just one of those things that's amazing. I know we've talked about it before with, you know, with the Red Sox and, you know, going down to Camden Yards in Baltimore, how inexpensive that is. But I'm sure the prices have gone up now that Brady is there. But that's, you know, that was a good deal to be able to kind of scoop that up. $2,800 for two club seat tickets.
Well, you would think that the cost of the Pats game should go down now. I know it won't because that's not how it works around here. But it would be nice because, you know, it's pretty much a mortgage payment to go down to a Patriots game with your family.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's really kind of rotten. So here's a question for you. And what other moves were there in the NFL for free agency? Philip Rivers went to Indianapolis, which I think is a pretty good pickup for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I think Rivers, they got a good team, and Rivers has, you know, a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah. I mean, that was good too. That's how the Pats got Hoyer. So.
Right. But are you aware of any other big moves?
Nothing big. No.
And which is bizarre because usually there's, you know, 10, 12, you know, high moves, but all the focus has been on Brady for the past 3.5 months.
Yeah. Since the last game.
4 months.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a bad year to be a free agent, put it that way, just because you weren't going to get any kind of love from anybody until Brady signed. And, you know, that's where it's at now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I mean, we're still on the Stidham thing, but how do you feel about the Andy Daltons of the world or the Cam Newtons of the world coming in, or Jameis Winston was another name in Tampa?
I don't think so. Well, first of all, the Patriots can't pay them. And that's not the type of, I don't know, that's not the offense I want to see. I don't want to see Jameis Winston in New England. You know, Andy Dalton, a little different. But Cam Newton, I like Cam Newton, but I liked Cam Newton 5 years ago, not the current Cam Newton.
Wouldn't you rather have Stidham at 700,000 than Newton at 19.1, or Winston at 15 or 16, or Andy Dalton at 22, or whatever those numbers are?
Absolutely. I would rather, I'd rather have that. I'd rather maybe pick up some receivers, and then it looks like Bill has kind of solidified the defense. I mean, he's paying some of the guys to return. So,
well, speaking of the defense, though, he lost 2 big ones.
He did.
Jamie Collins and Kyle Van Noy are gone.
Yeah.
And
Jamie had left and came back, and so
Kyle Van Noy I think is a bad one. That's a tough loss. They might feel that one. Although Kyle Van Noy was not Kyle Van Noy before he came to New England.
That's true.
You know, he was just another guy. Jamie Collins was not Jamie Collins until he played in New England. When he went to Cleveland, he wasn't anything special. That's why they released him.
Yeah, they released him, and the Pats took him back, and he had a great season. So it'll be
maybe the system. Maybe it is the system that they play in that Bill has. I mean, he's going to need a little bit of help. There was a few other guys that left.
Nate
got signed.
right?
Ebner. Yeah. But they picked up some special teams guys. They did pick up that safety. I forget his name. Who was not only a Pro Bowl, but an All-Pro a couple years ago too. I think they got him out of San Diego. So, or now Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Speaking of Los Angeles, what do you think of their new logos?
Well, I don't know. Not a fan, but
no. Okay. We are definitely material right now. We're talking team logos. So,
yeah.
This is for you, Timothy.
Speaking of Tom again, like, I can't even believe that there was even a debate. It's one of these things that people just need to make up debates, I guess. But there's no question that Tom Brady's going to wear number 12 in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, his whole business, it's TB12. Like, you're not, that's.
It's TB12 or 13. No, I think it's the Godwin guy, right? The receiver that has 12 down there.
So, I mean, and he's a good player, but obviously he's not. I mean, he came out. I mean, he spoke out and said, if Tom wants this number, it's Tom's number. So,
yeah. So, all right. I think we've beaten the Brady stuff to death.
Yeah.
We're talking logos on NFL teams now. So,
Yeah.
maybe that'll be our topic next week. I'm going to hold on to that because maybe we will talk about favorite logos.
Yeah, or favorite mascots, favorite college mascots.
Okay, I'll have to do some research on that one.
Yeah.
Let's talk some quick Red Sox stuff, even though they're not playing. But there's big news for the Red Sox that Chris Sale is getting Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, what a surprise!
What a surprise! Who saw that coming? Boy, did the Red Sox play this poorly.
Oh yeah,
it's just awful, absolutely awful. And they have a little bit of history in their medical department of making some bad decisions.
Yeah.
This could be the worst one.
Yeah.
Because he went down last year in the middle of the year, August-ish, with elbow inflammation. I know my dates might be a little bit off, but elbow inflammation. And they said, "Oh, we're going to rest it." And then towards the end of the year, they said, "Oh, we're going to rest it some more."
Right.
And then he threw like 1 or 2 times in the spring, and elbow inflammation. So they're going to say they're going to rest it some more.
Yeah.
And then he threw again, and he barely could pick up the ball, he said, or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So he lost 7 months.
Yeah. I mean, he could be at least 6 months into rehab now if they had done surgery back in August. And
he would be there, not this year, but he would be there next year. Now, I don't even know if he's had the surgery, because who's going into hospitals right now to get elective surgery? Probably Major League Baseball players. But so let's say that he's had the surgery. We haven't heard that, but let's say he's had the surgery. He's 12 to 15 months of recovery, which puts him at maybe the All-Star break next year.
Yeah.
Maybe. And you know how that works. It's going to be like, oh, let's just give him another year. Make sure.
Right.
By the way, your Red Sox just signed him to an extension that's 6 years and $150 million or something like that. So another great business deal.
I'm looking forward to opening day 2022. It's going to be awesome. Right?
He'll be there 2022. Yeah, he should be there 2022. He's going to be 35, but he'll be there. But, no, I think how old is he? He's like 28.
He's 28. Yeah.
28. So he'll be on the back end of that contract they just signed. So that's good money for him. I wonder if there's any insurance on that. If they have on those big contracts, if they don't play for 2 years, do they insure part of that? I know that there's injury insurance that some teams take, but I thought that was if their careers ended.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I wonder if that's happening. It's just
you saw I'm sure you saw that, like who the Patriots are still paying money to, and I keep forgetting. And I think we talked about this, but Manny Ramirez, they still pay him like $2 million a year. So he's like a contract genius. That was awesome.
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla, you remember Bobby Bonilla?
Oh yeah,
Bobby Bonilla was a contract genius because when he signed with the Mets, he deferred $30 million for 30 years, $1 million a year for 30 years.
Don't they have like Bobby Bonilla Day?
And it became his pension.
Yeah.
He put aside, he didn't trust how he was going to spend his money. So he deferred $30 million so he got paid $1 million a year. He gets paid through 2030.
Yeah. Amazing. Good for him.
Smart. Yep. That's smart because, we talked about players that have gone bankrupt. I think we did that on our show.
Yeah.
And, Antoine Walker and, some of these guys that made over $100 million and they lost it all.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla insured himself from doing that by making a move like that. And we don't know this, but $1 million is pretty good money. You're getting paid that a year, for a pension. So if he's that smart, then he probably had other money set aside too.
Probably.
So, good for him. Good for him. I have other here. Do we have any other?
I don't know what we have for other, but
I think that something that's big that's going on right now is online, EA Sports type stuff, which I'm not in. My kids are into. They play the show and NHL 2K or whatever those things are. Do you see some of the money that some of these guys make that play these things?
I know, and you can get college scholarships as well.
Huge. huge. I think that's probably going to be the next wave, and that's the sports world. That's the Fortnite world, and Fortnite's not as popular as it was last year, or even the first part of this year, when everybody was playing Fortnite. But the guys that were putting up YouTube videos of them playing Fortnite were making like $500,000 a week in doing this. It's just insane money these gamers that are making. And we always tell our kids, how are you going to make money doing that? And boy, they got the last word on that, because there is money out there to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found myself, Mike, that so when Jonathan plays the video game, I miss sports so much. I'm actually watching the basketball game because it's so realistic, and it's fun to see, like, the Celtics play, and it's very enjoyable. But yeah, it's crazy to think that people are doing this, making videos and making lots of money. So
that's pretty much the only sports that are going on.
I know.
Although UFC had their fight last week, didn't they?
Did they?
I thought I think that UFC and Dana White, the guy that's the head of the UFC, took a lot of heat on that. But he still has. He's he's a denier. We had, with just anything else, we have deniers and we have people that believe in what's going on here. And he didn't think that it was a big deal, and he went ahead and had the fight. Now, I don't know if he had fans in there or not, but
yeah.
You've seen UFC fights. If one guy has the coronavirus, the other guy's getting the coronavirus. Those guys are right up in each other's grills for 10 minutes at least, anyway. So, pretty interesting. Yeah. All right, Coach. I don't know how long we've been going. Have you had a timer going?
No, I haven't done a timer. Timothy has taken that power away from me. Smart. So, I think next week we should. We should maybe talk a little bit about, I think, mascots and things like just keep it light and have some fun, and maybe there'll be some sports news over the course of the next week.
Well, I'm going to put it out there to anybody who is watching this. We do have a Twitter handle at Mike and the Hoss. We are also on Instagram. And if you guys have some ideas of things that you want us to talk about, and I think next week we should probably publish our time that we're going to do this show.
Yeah.
And maybe we can figure out some way for people to call in or chime in through this meet thing that we got going.
We could check this out, man. We could have people join our show because we could invite them into our Google Meet. They could be guests on the show.
So we'll try and make this even better next week. Maybe it's that's the time that we can get a few of the coaches in just to talk about how this is impacting their spring seasons or their careers or whatever. So we'll plan on doing that, and maybe we'll give Timothy his full hour next week, or fill 57 minutes that he had this week. Yeah. We could stare at each other for the next 12 minutes, but I think that probably is bad TV.
One thing we do need to do, though, let's make sure we thank our sponsors again. I'll start. Morrissey's Porch and Pub, thank you.
Downtown Grill and Cafe, thank you.
Yep. And Skelly's Market, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. And anybody else who would like to join in sponsoring our show, please reach out to Wolfeboro Community Television.
Yeah, Timothy, thank you for recording this and being part of this. I know you're behind the scenes. People can't see you, but thank you so much.
And we are going into shelter in place. And so hopefully everybody stays safe out there. And like I said, we'll put out there what we plan on doing for next week's show and when we're going to do it. And, maybe people will call in.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that we're not currently playing, but go Knights.
Go Knights. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care, Mike.
All right. See you, Charlie.